ne font pas vraiment des activités financières. Toutefois, comment qu'un gouvernement, comment les acteurs clés, comment la Banque centrale, même si on travaille sur les politiques, on ne pourra jamais arriver à atteindre la population s'il ne fréquente pas les institutions formelles. Cette eau exprime un manque. Je vous invite, de données est extrêmement riche. On ne saurait tout vous présenter ce matin. En tout, il y avait près de 500, à peu près 400 et quelques questions répertoriées sur le pays. Ce que nous allons faire, ce matin, on vous a présenté seulement ce que nous allons faire au niveau de la BRH. On va récupérer la base de données. On va vraiment créer plusieurs partenaires. Les résultats devraient permettre aux décideurs d'articuler un cadre de politique publique favorisant une meilleure inclusion financière. Je conclus en invitant, en insistant sur la nécessité. Je vous remercie tous. Bonne audition et nous serons là à la fin. Si vous avez des questions, et je suis sûre que vous en aurez, nous serons prêts à vous assister et à vous répondre. Merci.
Présentation officielle de la quête nationale.
FinScope, ça a été un échange assez intéressant, sud-sud, puisque notre partenaire a réalisé près de 26 enquêtes de ce genre en Afrique. Il va nous présenter tout ça. Ce n'est pas un acteur facile à gérer, pas vrai, Jean? Ah ben, n'a pas le mal qu'on peut parler créole. Mais on a beaucoup appris, mes amis, ça nous a beaucoup aidé. On l'a fait sous les 10 départements, en arrière. Mais ça ne fonctionne pas. Ah, j'ai posé la bonne question, c'était pas on vraiment. Un petit support en arrière. Le premier slide. Sur la carte d'Haïti. Donc, c'était sur les 10 départements. On a interviewé 4200 familles, individus. Il y a eu 530 SDE. Bon, apparemment, si Pierre lui dans la salle, il n'y a pas grand monde qui entre dans la logique, ça va voir ici. Ce sont les sections d'énumération définies par l'IHSI. Et nous avons eu une population de 15 ans et plus. Et je crois que la directrice générale nous a bien expliqué comment est la situation. Sachez qu'en 2012, on avait réalisé le deuxième sommet de la finance et l'idée c'était particulièrement de voir comment les dépôts étaient répartis au niveau du territoire national. 85% des dépôts à l'époque étaient concentrés dans la zone métropolitaine de Port-au-Prince. On dit le département de l'Ouest, mais dans la zone métropolitaine. Sur chaque 100 gouttes collectées par les banques, 85 étaient dans la zone métropolitaine de Port-au-Prince. Et 15% pour les 9 départements. Donc je crois que c'était important pour la Banque centrale de voir et de comprendre et de partager avec nous comment mettre fin à cette... On parle d'une exclusion financière, car il y a des départements qui sont exclus financièrement dans le pays. Donc comme vous voyez, cette année, on utilise toujours les données de la Banque centrale. En bleu, c'est bien sûr la zone métropolitaine, le département de l'Ouest. Donc vous voyez comment les fonds sont concentrés dans ce département. C'est 81%. Donc de 2012 à nos jours, l'Ouest a perdu 4%. Le département du Nord a fait un bond, se retrouve maintenant en deuxième position. Et vous allez voir avec près de 20 milliards de gouttes. Mais l'écart entre le département de l'Ouest et le département du Nord est énorme. En troisième position, nous allons retrouver deux départements qui essaient de trouver la deuxième position. C'est le département de l'Artibonite et le département du Sud. Si on devait comptabiliser ces 4 départements 95% des dépôts du système bancaire dans 4 départements. 5% au niveau des 6 départements restants. Donc c'était intéressant de voir cette enquête nationale supportée par l'IHSI, car c'est l'IHSI qui est responsable de la statistique avec tout l'aspect technique, de nous dire, de confirmer pour nous ce tableau d'exclusion financière. Comme j'aime dire, ce n'est pas la Banque centrale qui est responsable, parce qu'elle nous donne l'information. Ça, c'est une variable dépendante. Comment influencer les variables indépendantes? Et là, descend pour moi pour rechercher particulièrement le budget. C'est bien ça. Regardez le budget. Regardez le budget de la République. Voté par des députés et par des sénateurs. Vous allez voir sur ce budget, ce n'est pas ce slide, descendez. Ça, c'est les coopératives, qui est un petit peu différent. Restez un moment ici, vous allez voir comment le département de l'Artibonite, ici, au niveau des coopératives, c'est un peu différent par rapport à ce qui se passe au niveau des dépôts bancaires. Mais ça confirme quand même certaines tendances. Le département de l'Artibonite est en première position devant le département de l'Ouest lorsqu'on parle des coopératives, actifs et dépôts. Mais les 3 départements, le département du Nord-Est, le département de la Grand'Anse et le département des NIP, que ce soit pour les dépôts bancaires, que ce soit pour les dépôts coopératives, sont dans la même situation. Et comme la directrice générale en parlait, des ménages, dans quelles conditions qu'ils vivent, vous allez voir dans la carte de pauvreté réalisée par le ministère du Plan, que les départements les plus pauvres, c'est les départements où il y a moins de dépôts bancaires, il y a moins de dépôts au niveau des coopératives. Les économistes aiment bien le dire, votre revenu, vous consommez, vous épargnez. Pour pouvoir épargner, vous devez avoir un revenu pouvant vous permettre non seulement de consommer, donc si les revenus sont faibles, seulement pour consommer, votre propension marginale à consommer est tellement faible, il n'y a pas d'argent non plus pour pouvoir épargner. Donc c'était ça un petit peu, de confirmer ce qui se passe au niveau du pays et comment changer cette exclusion financière dans certains départements. Donc allez pour moi maintenant vers le slide, continuez, on va terminer avec ce slide, c'est pas là, remontez pour voir, c'était pour le budget de la République. C'est pas là. Ce que je voulais vous montrer, que sur les 172 milliards de gouttes dans le budget de la République déposé au Parlement, il y avait à peu près 115 milliards de gouttes pour les dépenses de fonctionnement. 110 des 115 milliards de gouttes alloués au département de l'Ouest. 110 milliards de gouttes de dépenses de fonctionnement dans le département de l'Ouest. 5 milliards pour les autres départements. Sur les 62 milliards de gouttes restants pour les budgets d'investissement, il y avait à peu près une trentaine de milliards sur l'ensemble du territoire national et le département de l'Ouest allait bouffer 14 milliards de gouttes. Les projets d'investissement public dans les départements considérés comme les départements les plus pauvres, les exclus financièrement, je parle du département de Nord-Est, la Grand'Anse et les NIP, n'avaient pas 2 milliards de gouttes de projets d'investissement public. Donc si on veut éliminer l'exclusion financière en termes départemental, en termes communal, ça doit commencer par cette variable indépendante, le budget de la République. Qu'il y ait de meilleures allocations au niveau de ces départements. Et en ce moment, la Banque centrale viendra avec les dépôts bancaires et les dépôts des coopératives avec des montants beaucoup plus élevés. Ce n'est pas notre show, on va passer le micro à Abel. Pour ceux qui ne connaissent pas Abel, monsieur gagne 2-3 mois là passer avec un pays, mais monsieur refusé par les créoles là, est un petit peu difficile pour lui. Donc ceux qui ne comprennent pas ce qu'il va dire en anglais, on peut aller à l'arrière pour avoir votre écouteur. Donc on vous donnera 2 à 3 minutes pour le faire, parce que la présentation se fera en anglais, mais on aura une traduction simultanée. Abel, je vous donne le floor pour partager avec nous les informations que vous avez pu obtenir dans cette enquête qui a été réalisée sur l'ensemble du territoire national. You can come. Apportez pour nous le micro-baladeur.
Good morning. Bonjour. Can we give 3-4 minutes for people to get translations, translating equipment? By the way, the majority of you understand English, right? Right? So majority understand English. So then I'm in good company then. Before I do the introductions and greetings, by the show of hands, how many of you are from the microfinance sector? By the show of hands, I just want to know, get a sense of the room. 4 people. How many of you are from the insurance sector? Insurance. 1, 2, 3. Banking. That's a majority. Okay. Credit. The credit. No, it's like 4. How many of you are from the academic space or research space? Academia or research? How many of you are in the development space, like donors? Okay. And then the policy makers? Just BRH. There's no other regulator or present here. Okay? Okay. There's just a couple of people and then we'll start. Good morning again. My name is Abel Mutsumi. I was born in Botswana. I stay in South Africa, and I work globally. That's my introduction every time, everywhere. I wanted to start by greeting the board of directors of BRH, the members of the financial sector, the members of academia and developmental space. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There we go. That's much better now. I'm going to do a lot of information overload. By the way, please let me know for the translation whether I'm fast or I'm slow, so that there's a lot to cover. So it's fine? Okay. Let's start with why we are here. Financial inclusion is a goal that Haiti has for its citizens, right? The idea is to eradicate poverty and help people get a better livelihood. Now, for this survey, we partnered with a lot of institutions. If you are from any of those institutions, please give yourself a round of applause. If you are not from any of those institutions, please give them a round of applause. But here's the point, and there's a reason why we are here. Financial inclusion cannot be achieved by one entity or one sector. BRH, as policy makers, they do not provide financial products. Financial service providers, they need regulation, but they also need data. So in other words, for us to realize our dream of financial inclusion in Haiti, it needs a collaborative effort of all of you in the room. So therefore, the data is just the starting point of the conversation. What will then happen, as the Director General has said, will need to be followed up by action. I wanted to give appreciation to USAID, BRH, for also helping funding the study. Kesna Farrell said, I'm a difficult person. That's not true. He also said, I don't want to learn French, Creole. That's not true. I only come here for a week at a time. And in that week, I'm in meetings like this. There's no time to learn. So that is my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. The chief of party of Finance Inclusive, he said, Haiti is the first country in Latin America. That's true. But here's why FinScope survey is kind of unique. Because so far, it is the only study in the world that brings people like this. Because there is no point in funding a study that, as a developmental agency, you are just giving data to the country. They don't need it. They know what they need. That is why the entities in the study, they dictated or they directed what the study should cover. The second point is on the 60 pages she mentioned. Please note, what I'll present here is not even 10% of this data. But for the sake of time and the venue and people, we have to present just a brief snapshot of the results. We are hoping that soon there will be some presence in Latin America so that when we compare Haiti, we can compare it with the neighbors. In this slide, I just wanted to touch 2 points, the 2 bottom points. The first one is that for whatever we do, it needs to be data-led or evidence-based. So in other words, it is no point creating financial products that people do not need. The best way to achieve financial inclusion is to match financial needs with financial provision. So that is the essence of why the data was created. The second part is that stimulate the conversation part. Yes, we will see the results, but the conversation then starts. Given that there is a high level of exclusion in certain departments and nationally also, the question is, what do we do as a collective? That is why we do this survey. Because we don't want to just do a survey in Haiti and then leave. It's just a waste of money and time. Those are just the two objectives I just want to touch on. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Thank you. The last speaker was speaking about the population that we started looking at. For Haiti and globally now, the minimum age when we do such surveys is 15 years. Two reasons. One, for you to engage with the financial sector should not start at a legal age of 18. Because also, that's too late. You are starting to learn financial concepts, why you need to save. That's late. So globally, the movement has been to start at 15. But at the same time, you said you are from the developmental agencies. We will see some of the results. A lot of financial exclusion is because people do not know why they need to save, why they need to borrow to help, to meet a certain financial need. So as a developmental agent, it's then to start taking financial education at the grassroots level. There are cases where, so far there are 10 countries that have included financial education as part of the school system. The point is, financial concepts needs to start early, so that by the time we do a survey for 15-year-olds, we are actually comparing the correct data. It's very hard to analyze data for a 15-year-old, 18-year-old who has no clue what financial concepts are. So to do justice to that, that's why we start with 15. I don't want to take a lot of time on this, but the other point I just wanted to mention was the number of interviews. But much better is to give you this map. When the Director General said it's nationally representative, the point is the surveys are done in all the departments. When we dealt with EHSI, we look at the probability proportion to size. What that means is that if a department has 10% of the adult population in Haiti, it will then have 10% of the number of interviews. If a department had 60% of the adult population, that department will obviously have the higher proportion of the interviews. It makes sense, right? The point is, it needs to locate where the people are, not just for the sake of science. It makes sense. I wanted to add on, how many of you were here on Monday? On Monday? Just two people. On Monday, BRH presented inclusion maps. What that does is that it takes data, it maps it to such data as demand side. This is demand side data. And then it helps you locate where there is exclusion and where there is financial service provision. In that way, if you are a bank, you are a microfinance institution, you then get to start mapping where the people are, where there are opportunities, where there's no services, and then what to do. It also, we can then give you what is the biggest sector in that area. For example, if an area is big on agriculture, obviously the ecosystem will revolve around the value chain of agriculture. Does it make sense? So therefore, the financial needs would most likely be related to agriculture. Are you following so far? Okay. This is still the easy part. There's a point I'm going to get complicated later on, okay? So please shout if you're not understanding. This slide is on the demographics now of the adult population in Haiti. 2 points I need you to understand. Please look at me for now, just for now. Look at me. All the results I'll present, all of them, they will be based on that 7.67 million adults. Whenever you see a percentage, always remember it's out of that adult population, unless otherwise stated. There are instances where I'll state this is not of that population. So 20% of the adult population reside in the rural areas. Okay? So that's what that tells you. I'll move on. I just wanted to spend 30 seconds on this slide. Now, we are in the business of financial inclusion. However, for anybody to be formally included, the first basic document they need is proof of income. Is that not so? Is that not so? For you to engage a formal financial product, you need proof of income. But in Haiti, so far, only 1% of the Arab population show that they have a document. In other words, if I want to go and access credit, I need to prove that I can pay back, right? But if I don't have a formal document that shows my income, for example, I work in the agriculture space, or I'm self-employed, I won't have a document. So therefore, those are some of the things that lead to higher rate of financial exclusion in Haiti. Similarly, there are people who have property. So far, 14% of the adults reported that they have title deeds. So in other words, they are able to have collateral against their properties. So those are some of the enablers for formal financial inclusion. We'll talk about that later on. Okay. Similarly, we also looked at the source of income of the adults, right? The table on the graph on the left gives you the breakdown by income ranges. That one is simple and straightforward, right? It tells you that 10% of the adults earn between 2,000 and 3,000 goods. It tells you the further 10% earn between 3,000 and 5,000 goods. That's the graph on the left. I wanted to spend a bit of time on the graph on the right now. That talks about the main source of income. Please note, when we ask an adult, what's your source of income? It is possible that somebody has two jobs. Is formally employed, works at BRH, but also have a side business. The second question we'll then ask is, what's your primary source of income? What's your main source of income? Because that also tells you how regular is the income, whether the income will also have a document, for example. All the 7 bars on the right, the top 7, it shows that 95% of the adults are in industries or sectors that may not have a document to prove their income. This is very high. A lot of people are dependent on sectors that will not be able to provide proof of income. That's the first signal of why there is high levels of financial exclusion in Haiti. Obviously, the other 2% and the 3%, they are salaried, they have a document, a salary slip or paycheck or something. Does it make sense so far? Does it make sense? Thank you. The Director General talked about credit earlier on, that 4% of the adults are accessing formal credit. The theme of this conference, this Finance Week, it's financial inclusion in the agriculture and tourism space. But there is a part that talks about fintechs. Now, you may be aware that globally the evolution of fintechs is to try and create different algorithms that will create an enabling credit scoring model. Now, in most of the markets I've worked in Cameroon, for example, they look at the assets that people have, whether they are fixed or not fixed. And the government, BRH in this case, would then create something called a collateral registry. What that does is that it helps fintechs create credit scoring models based on the assets that people report they have. In Haiti, for example, if 37% of the adults have a television, the question is, can a television be used as collateral? That's what the advantage of a fintech is. So it helps you be innovative in creating credit scoring models. The reason why we collect this data is to help FSPs understand the context that people live under. You cannot expect somebody to use property they don't have. What they have is a television. By the way, I had a comment with one of you. He was asking whether people in Haiti or the banks in Haiti are worried about fintechs. But I said it depends whether the fintechs will actually take advantage of the data now. Because the whole point of creating financial inclusion is to create a competitive environment where people actually benefit in the long term. Right? The second question was, when are we going to have the second round of data? I said it depends. Depending on the sophistication of the sector or how advanced the sector is, you need regular data. If fintechs start operating in Haiti, you need to start tracking the data quite frequently now, because you need to start reporting on the changes as and when they happen. But there are countries in the world where we do this survey after 3 years. And it's okay, because the level of the development of the financial sector is not that advanced. There are countries we do this survey every 6 months. Every 6 months. Where mobile money and the innovation, the rate of innovation in the financial sector is very fast. But we'll discuss that later. Similarly, on the fintech narrative, note that fintechs depends on technology, access to technology, right? Internet, smartphones, all those things. But the question is, what is the rate of penetration in Haiti? As it stands, 35% of the adults have access to a smartphone. 15% of the adults have access to the internet. Therefore, the question on fintech, on the success or failure of fintechs, depends on what the people have, not on what the fintech does. It's never dependent on the provider. It's dependent on the consumer, because the consumer who will make the change. Okay. The other part of the other theme of this Finance Week is agriculture. These results start mapping the value chain within the agriculture space, right? It tells you that 92% of the farmers are selling directly to the public. Is that the correct translation? Okay. They are selling directly to the public. 15% of the adults are selling to an agent. Now, when we give such data, let me mention one thing. 2 weeks back, before I came here, we had fintech days in 6 countries at the same time. Now, the idea was to help fintech startups to come up with innovative solutions. Now, one of the things some fintech startups did was to take such data, understanding that the value chain means if you are a farmer and you interact with the agent, there has to be a payment model that will need to be used, other than cash, right? And then from the agent to the supplier, or to the agent to the public. So that is what creates the value chain. There's no value chain if you go direct to the public, right? So they now start creating payment solutions in agriculture, because that country had 85% of the adult population in the agriculture sector. It then started making sense how fintech start using such data. So the point is, you need to understand the context that people are. In Haiti, this is some of the reality. A lot of people are selling directly to the consumer. So which means they have to actually travel, or the consumer has to travel, right? Those are some of the things you need to bear in mind as you create financial solutions. The other graph talks about the constraints that farmers have. You might have seen in the last 2 years, Bill and Melinda Gates are funding a lot of financial solutions that help farmers pay for seeds or inputs. Because some of these reports, farmers have a high problem. They have a problem with sourcing inputs. So they usually create a credit mechanism for them to get inputs in advance. So those are some of the examples of using the data. Are we good so far? We're still on the nice part. We haven't got complicated yet. Some few more slides, then we start complicating it a bit. Here's one interesting attitude I picked up in Haiti. There was a question asked to the adults, and 37% of the adults said, I quote, "It is the government's responsibility to provide for me." What does that mean? What does that mean? It means everything will come from the government. Food, jobs, everything else. Right? They are now thinking of a dependent state. I asked around in December. I was here in December and November. There was a manifestation. What's happening? No, somebody wants jobs, somebody wants food, somebody wants something from the government. And then it made sense why a lot of people would report that it's the government's responsibility to provide for them. Financial inclusion is the opposite. It tries to empower people to fend for themselves, right? If they are farmers, how can they be commercial farmers? If they are self-employed, how can they grow their businesses? That's what financial inclusion does. If it's a parent, they want to educate their children, how can they do that? That's what financial inclusion is. But anyway, that's beside the point. Let me pass this. Now, we're starting to get a little tricky. Let me start with the definitions, okay? We all know what a bank is. But for the rest of the results, we are going to separate into four categories. One, a bank institution. We know what that is. The definition is there. And then other formal non-bank institution. What that means is that any other regulated institution that's not a bank, including microfinance, cooperative societies, insurance companies, and all credit companies, all those institutions, as long as they are regulated, they will then be called other formal non-bank institution. Is that fine? This third one will be informal financial providers. Any institution that provides financial services that's not regulated. It may be an informal savings group, a church, anything that's providing a solution, either savings, credit, insurance, something, or remittance product, will be classified as informal financial service providers. Is that fine? Now, for the definition of financial inclusion, it goes as follows. We know that the population we are looking at, it's 15 years and above, right? That's the 7.67 million adults in Haiti. The first question is whether they have any financial product, whether it's informal or formal, doesn't matter for now. If the answer is yes, they are financially included. If the answer is no, they are financially excluded. Okay? And then the second part of the financially included, we differentiate between regulated and non-regulated. In other words, formal is all the institutions that are regulated, banks, insurance, credit, everything else. That's regulated, it's formal. Everything else that's not regulated is informal. Similarly, within the formal, we break it down to two, bank and other bank non-formal. Is that fine? It just simplifies the definitions. Now, when it comes to the results, we then start to see what the levels of overlap are. There was a lot of presence of the bankers here. Please note the bankers. The report or the results say adults that are exclusively using bank services only, it's 1.3%. Please note, we are looking at adult head count here. So it doesn't matter whether somebody has two products or one. Because the unit of analysis is an individual, it will be counted once. Does it make sense? So these numbers don't correlate exactly with the number of accounts because an individual can have 2 accounts or 3 accounts or 4. But here the unit of analysis is an individual. What is interesting though in Haiti is that a lot of adults are using a mix of a portfolio of financial solutions. You'll see that 7.5% of the adults have a bank product and other formal non-bank, like an insurance product from an insurance provider, right? 1.6% of the adults have both formal, informal, and bank products. Now, the 46% that the Director General talked about earlier on is the one in the corner. They do not have anything. These are excluded from the financial sector at all. At the same time, it presents an opportunity, right? It means they are not served. So, for the calculation of the next result, all the numbers in blue, they will be classified under bank because of the priority in financial inclusion. The priority is that we are trying to get everybody into the formal sector because of the advantages of formal sector. You know the advantage, safety, security, all those things, right? So, for the rest of the calculations, the circle in blue tallies up to 11%, right? That's what the 11% talks in the first chart. That's the 11%. But so that we avoid double counting, the other formal is now the remainder of what's left, right? Which is the 26.4 and the 6.4. That gives you the 33%. And then the informal is what's left because all these other numbers have been allocated. What this does is that it prioritizes the financial solutions according to the hierarchy. Bank always takes first priority, other formal takes second priority, and then informal takes the third priority. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Okay. So this means then, for the rest of the results, come on now. This then gives you the 100% adult population. You have to be classified once, some way. So, in short, in Haiti, 11% of the adults are using a bank product. Remember on the circle also, it means they are using other products. It may be that they're using other products, right? And then 33% of the adults are using other formal non-bank. 10% are using informal only. And then the 46% are excluded. Then comes to my next graph by department. You heard the previous speaker when he was talking about the rates of poverty in Haiti. The comment has been, as it stands, there is a correlation between the levels of exclusion by department and the poverty rates by department, with data from the IHSI. There is a high correlation between exclusion and high poverty rates. At the same time, we also we need to understand the segments. We also need to differentiate where the people are in their life cycle, right? Are they working? Are they not working? Are they still in school? The age gives you that first segmentation. And then we also can segment by gender. And then we also segment by rural, urban. Obviously, in urban areas, there will be high usage of bank and formal financial services. That's why the exclusion rate in urban areas is 44%, whereas in rural areas, it's 57%. When you cross-tab the results by the source of income, by the livelihoods, the picture makes sense. Remember, most of the people who are not in the formal sector may not have proof of income, they don't have regular income, all those things. They would more likely to be excluded, starting with those in the agriculture space. We all know this. Farmers get their income seasonally, as and when they harvest, right? Therefore, sometimes you wonder, why would financial service providers expect a farmer to contribute monthly? But they know that their source of income can only come seasonally. And then we wonder, but why is there high levels of exclusion? It depends on the person's context. Similarly, there are people who depend on other income from family or friends. Those that are dependent on transfers. They have a higher level of exclusion. And that 45%, you will note that it's driven by remittance products because they have to receive money. More likely than not, they are receiving in the formal, using formal or other formal non-bank services. Does it make sense? We'll get questions later. Haiti, how does Haiti rank in the FinScope countries, right? So far, Haiti is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the highest levels of exclusion. But here's the best part. When I was asked to present this slide, I needed to show Haiti on top. Haiti has the fifth highest level of exclusion. But that also means to all of us, there's a lot we need to do. Right? As a country, there's a lot we need to do. Obviously, the other point of this graph is that we need to start getting ideas on how different countries apply their strategies. One of the world's known solutions or drivers of financial inclusion is the Vodacom M-Pesa. It's one of those countries that have the data every year because they wanted to start seeing the rate of change. Here's a short story. In 2012, 2010, when M-Pesa was starting to really take off, the data showed that banks were leading in Kenya, in Tanzania. Banks were leading the sector. They were dominating the sector. 3 years after the survey, M-Pesa started overtaking the banks. There was a point where mobile network operator solutions, M-Pesa in this case, was the leading source of financial inclusion or the most used financial solution. But that also gave a wake-up call to the bankers. They had to innovate because they're all competing for the same pie. 5 years down the line, the bankers have innovated. Now the bankers have surpassed M-Pesa. Point is, it's the data that tells you the story. And obviously, that is why we're doing this. Bankers may be comfortable now, but as we try and innovate the sector, obviously increase competitiveness and all those things, the story will change. But in all that, it will always change for the benefit of the consumer. And that is why we are here. Talking about banking, that 11% of the adults in Haiti, this is one of the slides that is not based on this adult population, but is based on the 11%. The question was, what financial products do they have now? A lot of them are using cards and transactional accounts. Right? Please note, it does not add to 100% because other products are 1. It's a whole list of products. They all have 1%. But the total of this graph adds to 100 because it's based off that 11% now. And talking about the 11%, why are people banked? The graph on the left gives you the reasons. What is interesting for me is the graph on the right. Why are people not banked? They don't have an income. You saw in the earlier graph, right? You cannot expect a banker, you cannot expect a consumer, to be banked if they don't have source of income. You know the story. In India, the government launched no frills accounts, no minimum balance accounts. 70 million bank accounts were taken up in one day. The government pushed for bank accounts. A lot of people took up bank accounts. But here's what happened 6 months later. The bank accounts were dormant. And then the question is why? But then when you tell them, but you did not change the circumstance of the consumer, the farmer is still a farmer. The unemployed is still the unemployed. Yes, you have given them bank account, but it doesn't change anything. Here's why we always need to change livelihoods first, because it's only then there will be change. We can be dormant. Because the context, the way people earn money is still the same. That's why we need to always use data. That's why I tend to preach on this, because it's pointless for me to do this survey If people don't understand that, it's not the solution that matters. It's what it does to the consumer. Data on its own is data. But you need to understand what it means. I'll pass for this one. We also looked at the people who have microfinance institutions accounts. In Haiti, 6% of the adults have reported that they have MFI accounts, or EMF in French. You can start mapping where they are, who they are. We also have data on why the other people, the other 94%, don't have accounts. All that data is available in the database. For the purposes of this presentation, I won't show it. But the data is there. Right? This is some of it. Anyway. I want to skip it. Is it fine if I skip it? Just conscious of time now. We start looking at savings and investments. As it stands, 27% of the adults are saving in some format. Right? 11% are saving at formal institutions. 8% are saving in banking institutions. 4% are saving in other formal non-bank. But the interesting part that I wanted to talk about is these last two green bars. The 14% are saving at informal financial services, meaning they are saving at the community leader, informal groups, informal savings groups, all those things. Note, they are saving. The behavior is there. The action is there. They are saving. Similarly, there is 7% of the adults that are saving at home, what we call under the mattress or underneath the pillow. They are saving. They are saving. It might not be at an institution, but they are saving. This is why we say to fintechs to innovate. Help them save. People believe in hardcore cash. It's easier to control money. If you analyze their behavior, you'll see that it's people who are dependent on the cash economy. They believe in 100% control. Therefore, they believe in saving the money that they can touch when they wake up. Not with money in the bank account. Please note, the data also tells you those things. There is a high level of distrust in formal financial institutions in Haiti. The data tells you all those things. For now, I'm just painting the picture of the current levels, right? When you look at the strands, we call them the strands, you also start seeing which departments are saving, right? And what kind of mechanisms they are saving. It brings on the next important question on the quality of financial inclusion. Though people are saving, there are many instances where people are saving with informal groups and then money disappears. That's a risk, right? However, it seems the adults prefer that risk than to put money in the formal financial institution. When you dig deeper, why is that? There is some level of social inclusion, meaning the sense of belonging. When you are part of the group, that's why it's better for them to relate to an informal group. The data is there. You can analyze it to your pleasure. You start looking at who is saving. Where are they saving? Interestingly enough, this is one of the odd cases. Haiti men tend to save more than women, which was interesting. Oh, sorry? We're talking about formal financial institutions here. And then also you look at the source of livelihoods, saving, right? Obviously, those that are formally employed, savings correlated to income. It is a function of. Please, by the way, the definition of saving here, we are only looking at monetized instruments, like money or cash equivalent. This is the other part I want to mention. It's also very important to understand why people are saving or the drivers of savings, right? On the right, on the graph on the left, on your left, we highlight behavior that's correlated to developmental reasons. So if someone is saving for education, for example, if someone is saving for property, someone is saving for land, if someone is saving to start a business, all those things, we call them savings for developmental reasons because those have the higher chance to improve their livelihoods. So if you are saving for a business, more likely a business can help you elevate your livelihood, right? If the business does well. Similarly, if you're saving for education, we know this. There's a higher correlation for those that are educated to get out of poverty. So those are the drivers we also try and encourage the consumers. But at the same time, there's been a spike in financial solutions that are actually geared toward developmental reasons. But on the right, reasons why people are not savings, also linked to income and livelihoods. When you start looking at credit, as the Director General said, by the way, are you still following so far? Too much information? No? 4% of the adults are saving at a formal institution, and 87% of the adults, this is not savings, this is credit. 87% of the adults are not borrowing. Those that are borrowing from the informal, or some of them are borrowing within their immediate environment. They are borrowing from family and friends. You also start looking at the drivers for credit, for accessing credit, and start looking at the barriers for accessing credit. Similarly, there has also been a spike, especially by for creating solutions that are developmental in nature, to help people start a business, to help people get houses, or financial solutions that have been geared towards credit, especially credit for developmental reasons. When we start looking at insurance, there's not much to say in the insurance people. I saw 4 hands of people who said they are from the insurance sector. As it stands, 4% of the adults are insured. Now, here's how people have started to use insurance data. You have seen globally the effects of climate change, right? Everywhere, every country, insurance products now. And obviously, the context matters. Who is most likely? Understanding that a farmer cannot, they have new solutions now that collect premiums, and obviously the payouts are prorated. So there's those premiums. But understanding the context, I hope it makes sense. The story is the same. Low levels of insurance uptake. In insurance, you will also see that a lot of insurance, lack of uptake on insurance has to do a lot with financial education. For example, 6% of the people who do not have insurance have never heard of different insurance products. obviously you cannot take or you don't understand the benefit. That's what a lot of it came from in Haiti. A lot of people. So a lot of consumer education, there has to be a big drive. If you're an insurance provider, understand education comes before uptake. Obvious. A digitized economy yet. Okay. 61% are not remitting at all. But what was interesting is the 12% that are remitting through friends and family. The reason I want to bring this up is that this is not technically a product. We track it because we want to get a sense of what the behavior is in Haiti. Though it's not technically a product, we now know that actually there is an economy. People are remitting. They might not be doing with institutions. They are doing through friends and family. So you give your sister to go give money to whoever. But it also points out to the presence of the financial need, right? That's why we track some of this data. The data is rich. The data needs someone to act. With 23% of the adults have mobile money accounts, right? And they are dispersed according to those departments. Obviously, a lot of them in a metropolitan. We see that a lot of people who are actually remitting are of the age 25 to 34. But those under the age of 18, the 6%, if you analyze the data, you'll see that they are school-going university students. So they are getting money. They are receiving money. So that's what the 6% tells you, the direction of the flow. When we did this, we linked it closely with the National Financial Inclusion National Strategy, where it's trying to act on the poor of the poor, the women, those that are in small businesses and all those kind of things, right? What this map tells you is those that are included, who are they, how many, those who are excluded, who are they, where are they, what do they have, what are the opportunities to include them. And then at the bottom on the red side, it tells you of those that are excluded now. We also mapped those that are ultra poor, ultra poor. That's some dollars, yeah. Less than what, $2, I think. Yeah. And then what do they have? Those that earn more than $2, what are the opportunities? What do they have? Most of them, for example, have access to smartphones. If we are to serve them, the easiest channel would obviously be a smartphone. That's my story for today. This is where you clap. Thank you. I don't know. Do we take questions? Okay.
Merci beaucoup, Abel. Je crois qu'on a vraiment eu beaucoup d'informations. Il a parlé d'overflow, overload. Et notez qu'avant la présentation, ça va priver, mais la priver nous quand même. Donc, on peut tirer beaucoup d'informations de cette présentation, l'accès aux services financiers tels que l'exclusion et la pauvreté, les politiques publiques qu'il faudra mettre en place, l'identification, mes amis. Comment aujourd'hui, dans ce monde technologique, que nous ne pouvons pas identifier dans un pays. Depuis que nous n'avons pas identifié, il est automatiquement candidat pour devenir pauvre. L'injustice fiscale, il y a le ministère des Finances qui va faire des présentations, mais sachez que en tant qu'il y a plus d'exclusion financière, il y a moins de capacité pour que DGI entre cob. Donc il est fondamental que l'on puisse modifier tout ça. Plus de 90% des ressources fiscales de l'État dans le département de l'Ouest. Donc 95%. Donc on ne pourra pas mobiliser des ressources au niveau local. Il n'y a que 5 mairies du pays pouvant mobiliser des fonds pour faire certaines activités. Donc, il y a tout un ensemble d'informations qu'il faudra bien comprendre. L'injustice fiscale, l'insécurité financière, l'insécurité physique également. On pourra se poser la question, pourquoi il y a seulement 5% de personnes pauvres dans la zone métropolitaine, chiffre du ministère du Plan, d'extrême pauvreté, pardon, et que dans les autres départements où il y a beaucoup plus d'extrême pauvreté, mais il y a beaucoup plus d'insécurité physique au niveau de la zone métropolitaine. On n'a pas parlé de 6-7 juillet, on n'a pas parlé de lockdown, mais les départements les plus pauvres, si vous avez regardé les comportements, nous, côté qui a plus d'argent, c'est chaque semaine qui a un lockdown là. Donc il y a des contradictions à prendre en considération. Il va y avoir FinTech depuis quelque temps déjà. On a la finance traditionnelle, comme je dis. Jusqu'à demain, on aura la finance traditionnelle. On aura vendredi et samedi FinTech. C'est pour vous dire que c'est de cette façon que nous allons vivre au XXIe siècle. Peut-être dans 10 ans, FinTech va durer 4 jours. Et ce qu'on a un jour pour nous dire, mais comment est-ce qu'on fait finance longtemps? Comprenez, c'est des défis énormes, mes amis. Mais pour que nous puissions réussir dans ce XXIe siècle, dans les services financiers, attention, vous devez pratiquer ce qu'on appelle le digital literacy. Dans la salle, qui gagne plus chaque monde qui saute dans l'école digitale là, son potentiel client lié pour lui. Et c'est ce qu'il faudra commencer à faire, comprendre qu'il faut créer un double objectif. Oui, il faut faire l'argent, financial value, economic value. Mais si nous ne pas soutenu social value au niveau du PIB, mais c'est le pays le plus inégal dans le monde parmi les plus inégaux. Ça n'a pas venu là pour nous penser que ça fait l'argent, ça fait finance simplement. Il y a beaucoup plus que ça. Il y a un aspect de société, il y a la survie de cette société en quelque sorte. Donc je demande encore d'applaudir Abel qui a fait un travail extraordinaire. Nous passons aux questions. Je suppose qu'il y en a. Le micro-baladeur, s'il vous plaît. C'est derrière. I didn't say you are a difficult guy. I said you are a tough guy. It's different. La première question. Il peut que ça ne... Il y a un problème de micro là, ça ne passe pas. Il n'y a pas le micro. On peut poser les questions français, anglais et créole.
Ok, très bien. Et merci pour la présentation. Alors moi, j'essaie de mieux comprendre la relation entre l'inclusion financière et la pauvreté. À la page 17 du livret, et je vois que le département du Nord-Est qui est considéré comme le département, l'un des départements les plus pauvres, ou bien le département le plus pauvre, et vient en deuxième position en termes d'inclusion financière, et avec un taux de bancarisation de 10%. Ça, c'est un premier constat. Un deuxième, c'est à la page 21, où ce même département du Nord-Est vient en deuxième position après le département de l'Ouest en termes d'épargne et d'investissement. Donc, j'aimerais savoir, selon vos résultats, comment vous voyez la relation entre l'inclusion financière et la pauvreté, et en tenant compte du cadre du département du Nord-Est. Merci.
On prend une deuxième question.
Merci pour la présentation, très riche. J'essaie de comprendre la relation entre le niveau d'inclusion financière ou d'exclusion, évidemment, et le niveau d'éducation. Je crois que je n'ai pas noté d'éléments d'information présentés sur le niveau d'éducation des personnes enquêtées. Je ne sais pas si c'est dans le questionnaire qu'on pourra l'analyser par la suite. Mais je voudrais donc poser cette question. Est-ce que la question sur le niveau d'éducation des enquêtés était posée? Et ensuite, pourquoi on n'a pas parlé de l'éducation financière comme pilier aussi dans l'inclusion financière, c'est-à-dire que l'accès aux services de sensibilisation et de formation à l'utilisation de ces services financiers.
Prenons une troisième question pour ce premier round-up.
Merci, bonjour, et merci pour les informations que vous avez fournies dans cette étude. Moi, je suis de la Fondation Fonds Causé, donc nous travaillons avec les gens les plus pauvres. Ma question, c'est que par rapport aux recommandations que vous avez faites, à quel niveau les institutions, par exemple les microfinances, les agents de la microfinance peuvent intervenir? Est-ce qu'il y a un niveau d'intervention pour ces agents-là? Merci beaucoup.
Ok, Abel, on peut répondre à ces trois questions d'abord. Can you come to the mic, Abel? I'm not so sure they can.
Je vais commencer par répondre surtout à la question au niveau de l'éducation financière. Les 5 piliers au niveau de la stratégie nationale d'inclusion financière, les 5 piliers qui ont été identifiés, le 4e pilier, c'est l'éducation financière et la protection des consommateurs. C'est pour dire l'éducation financière fait partie intégrante vraiment de la stratégie nationale. Si vous regardez au niveau des personnes, des ménages interviewés, surtout à la page 1, vous allez voir 47% des interviewés ont reçu un enseignement primaire ou moins. C'est pour répondre à la question sur l'éducation. Je vais laisser le soin à Abel et à Jean de répondre les autres, mais l'éducation financière, si vous vous rappelez et pour le discours d'introduction, on a bien pointé que 53% des interviewés ont reconnu qu'il y a un besoin en éducation financière. Ce qui veut dire, ça fait partie c'est un pilier au niveau de la stratégie nationale. On a interviewé les ménages aussi à ce sujet et les ménages nous ont répondu effectivement qu'ils ont besoin de l'éducation financière. Merci.
Et je vais traiter de la question le niveau potentiel d'intervention des institutions microfinances. Et il y a beaucoup de données, bien entendu. Il y a beaucoup de données. Et il faudrait analyser ces données d'abord, prendre conscience de ce qui est disponible dans ces zones. D'accord? Parce que les institutions microfinances sont placées à travers tous les départements. Mais je peux dire rapidement que, par exemple, et je crois qu'Abel a mentionné à la fin de la présentation que le secteur non inclus, C'est-à-dire les pauvres, si vous regardez à la page 35, il y a à peu près 2 831 174. Et cependant, ces gens utilisent des téléphones intelligents. Donc, il y a peut-être une façon, accouplée à l'éducation financière, de leur donner confiance au système financier. Et s'il y a d'entre eux qui épargnent, donc on peut peut-être leur offrir une gamme, une distribution de produits, c'est-à-dire de banque à distance, pour qu'ils commencent à s'associer au système financier et éventuellement pour arriver à la caisse ou à l'institution de microfinance. D'accord? Et comme vous le savez, les institutions comme Fonds Causé et tous les membres de l'ANIM déjà souffrent de problèmes de cadre légal qui est bien connu dans le secteur. Il y a la loi de la microfinance qui essaie d'être votée ou d'être présentée au Parlement. Je ne sais pas trop dans quelle étape que c'est, mais ça donnerait un cadre légal à ces institutions de microfinance pour avoir plus de latitude pour travailler et essayer de capturer ses clients. D'accord? Donc, comme la directrice générale de la Banque centrale l'a dit, toutes ces données seront disponibles et les institutions qui le pourront auront la capacité de faire toutes sortes de permutations pour trouver des solutions, des idées pour avancer l'inclusion financière et capturer ses clients potentiels. Merci.
Merci for the questions. Let's start with the second last one. So, like I said, different countries have different strategies. I'm answering the question on MFI intervention also. I was asking the Director General whether MFIs in Haiti are deposit taking. Now, here's what has been happening around the world. The level of innovation has surpassed the transactional form of doing things. So an MFI globally is known for pushing credit, microcredit especially, right? A lot of microfinance globally now, one, are deposit taking, and at the same time, they have started offering transactional products. In other words, they have started to compete with banks. So that is the level of intervention that has been happening. But for you as an MFI to take up that strategy, you need two things, obviously. Regulation to support you, and obviously your strategy. Everything we are pushing for is data-led. In all the justifications internally, we always use data to support your business case. So those are some of the interventions that have happened. Similarly with fintechs, right? On the question of education, here's what we know. In as much as fintechs are pushed, there is a high level of technical, lack of technical capacity. So in other words, yes, you know there's a solution on the mobile phone. There was a World Bank report that said 17% of the adults can actually use an USSD, right? And then 6% of the adults can actually use the internet-based form of transactional transacting. So that's what pushed by the fintechs. In other words, in as much as we want to push solutions, there has to be a level of competency on the other side of the equation. That's where this is coming from. So education cuts across the board. We also want globally to transform the sector. We want more women included. At the same time, there has to be a level of competency on the other side. And all this is addressed by the first question. What is the relationship between financial inclusion and poverty? Let's simplify it this way. Can I be blunt? Can I be blunt? Okay. I've worked in this space for a long time. I've been to different countries. Here's what financial inclusion is. Oh, let me start with what's not. Right now, we know that 46% of the adults in Haiti are financially excluded, right? Right? We all know this, right? Can you explain this to a layman? Can you explain this to a man on the street? You can't. You know why? Because that's a term we use here. That's a technical term we use here to try and better the lives of people. Financial inclusion has no meaning to the men on the street. It has no meaning. We know what it means because it's a proxy of what we want to do for the country. So, it comes back to the question. Currently, financial inclusion is the fastest way to get people out of poverty. Because what the theory of change there says, you need to help a farmer to grow his business, right? Because only in growing the business, he will get out of poverty. You need to help the self-employed to grow their business. Because in only doing that, they get out of poverty. You need to help the student get a job. In doing that, you help eradicate poverty. Financial inclusion is the vehicle in between. Access to credit for you to go and apply for jobs, that's what financial inclusion is. Access to credit for you to buy inputs as a farmer, that's what financial inclusion is. So financial inclusion is an all-encompassing word that helps people to get better. That's what it is. But you can't explain what 46% exclusion is to a layman. You can't. Because you need to understand his needs. I hope it makes sense. So in all we are trying to do, we are trying to help Haitians help themselves. You understand? So coming back to the question on the Northwest. I need to double... The clicker. By the way, you each have this booklet, right? Yes. On page, he was referring to savings and banked. Let's start with the page, with the graph on page 17 of this booklet. That's the overall access trend. 17. I don't know what 17 is in French. What? Yes, you see? That's why I haven't learned anything yet. 17. I need a mentor. Teach me French on my next trip. Northwest currently reads. Northwest, 10% of the adults are banked. 20. Yeah, it's Northwest. What? Yeah, that's Northeast. Okay, oh yeah. Yeah, okay, sorry. Northwest reads 5% of the adults are banked, right? 26% of them are using other formal non-bank, and 9% are using informal. The question is, what is the correlation between financial inclusion and poverty in Northwest particularly, right? If you map poverty in Haiti by departments, right? Northwest will be one of the last ones. And the one I saw exactly mirrored this with two different changes. I think there was a switch between South and Southwest. One of them was like in different places. But the rest of the flow had the same mapping. The idea is that the livelihood and context of the people in Northwest reflects their level of uptaking of financial services, which always makes sense. If you map what the agriculture is, it has to be. I'm looking for the agriculture mapping by department. If I remember well, a lot of Northwest people are involved in agriculture. And obviously, farmers are excluded. If you map you do the cross analysis of livelihoods and exclusion. Here's the point in all this. Always understand the livelihoods of the people and the context where people are before you do anything else. That's the main message I want you to go with when you live here. Always understand the context, because no matter what innovation you can do, for as long as it doesn't suit the context of where the people are, it hardly makes a change. I hope it makes sense though.
Le conseil que j'aimerais vous donner, c'est de ne pas fonctionner en silo. Il y a beaucoup de banquiers de la salle. Je vous recommanderais d'utiliser ce document publié par le ministère de la Santé qui s'appelle EMUS 6, qui donne tellement d'informations pour bien comprendre les données financières. Et c'est la même chose également que d'autres qui ne sont pas dans le secteur financier, d'utiliser ces informations pour mieux comprendre, car il y a des échanges extrêmement importants. La directive générale nous disait ce matin que le plateau central, c'est le département où l'on retrouve une situation d'insécurité financière extrêmement élevée. Mais qu'est-ce que j'ai noté dans les MUS? Il y a moins de 80% de la population dans le plateau central qui dispose d'un certificat de naissance. Donc c'est une information extrêmement importante. Donc en tant que mon certificat, vous êtes capable d'identifier mon nom, il y a une possibilité pour tomber dans l'exclusion financière. Ça, ce n'est pas l'affaire d'un financier, mais il faut pousser tout ça dans les politiques publiques. Une autre information, plus de 65% de la population rurale dispose d'un téléphone cellulaire, alors qu'il y a moins que 20% qui ont accès à l'électricité. Mais on peut avoir un téléphone cellulaire, où tu as pensé qu'il y a accès, mais il faut encore l'éducation. Donc il y a des variables qu'il faudra prendre en considération, et c'est la raison pour laquelle cet événement qu'on réalise ici, ce n'est pas la finance pour la finance, mais c'est la finance pour le développement humain, c'est la finance comme instrument et comme moyen en quelque sorte. Deuxième round de questions, s'il y en a.
Et bonjour tout le monde, Clifford Pavelus et je suis avec la BRH. First of all, I would like to thank Abel for that presentation. That was wonderful, precise, and very clear for everybody. And that's a very good work. And for everybody, in the sense that with the data you provide, that will be of good use for the banking system. Ceci dit, ma question concerne les services financiers. Je voulais savoir s'il n'y a pas une sorte de lecture jointe entre plusieurs services financiers. Je prends l'exemple du crédit et de l'assurance, par exemple. Si on accorde du crédit, par exemple, au secteur agricole, et on n'a pas un service d'assurance, eh bien, ce service de crédit-là peut entraîner la paupérisation encore davantage de ces agriculteurs, par exemple. Donc, je dis cela surtout pour les messieurs du système bancaire haïtien qui accordent du crédit, etc. Si on prend l'automobile en Haïti, c'est clair, on achète un véhicule, un crédit pour un véhicule, on a le crédit, mais on est obligé de prendre l'assurance également pour couvrir ce véhicule. Et généralement, l'assurance couvre le crédit pour la durée du prêt pour le véhicule. Donc, justement, avoir un service financier, et je demande, est-ce qu'il n'y a pas une lecture également qui est faite sur cette question? Avoir un seul service, sans prendre en compte d'autres services, n'est pas en quelque sorte pas bénéfique pour celui qui va avoir le crédit. Donc je demande si on fait cette lecture-là, de joindre les services financiers afin d'avoir un résultat beaucoup plus probant pour les utilisateurs.
Merci.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis Richard Bercy, le représentant de la Fédération des caisses populaires haïtiennes Le Levier. Si je regarde à la page, je dirais 22, là, 21, 22, où on parle des paysages, des produits épargne, investissement. Ça m'intéresse beaucoup pour le milieu rural, où l'on parle où 71% de la population n'épargne pas. Est-ce que vous avez mesuré, je dirais, tous les types d'épargne en milieu rural? S'agit-il de dépôts dans les caisses populaires ou, je dirais, dans les banques? Pour moi, ça m'intéresse parce que je sais qu'il y a pas mal, d'épargne, je dirais, en milieu rural. Voilà.
Merci. Nous pas épargner un cochon qu'on y a encore?
Bonjour, mon nom c'est Wilben Seguino et je travaille au CFI. En fait, ma question se porte surtout par rapport à l'analyse que vous avez faite sur, d'un côté, les institutions qui mettent à disposition les services et produits financiers. Vous avez certainement mentionné toutes les institutions par rapport à leur situation informelle ou informelle. Maintenant, ce que je cherche à savoir, est-ce que dans cette étude, vous avez pu analyser le côté fournisseurs de biens et de services qui acceptent ces services et qui utilisent ces services au profit des consommateurs. C'est-à-dire, par exemple, ça peut arriver qu'un banque met à disposition des cartes de débit, cartes de crédit, mais si les fournisseurs de biens et de services avec qui on fait les transactions de façon fréquente ne facilitent pas qu'on rentre en transaction avec eux, donc ça peut arriver que les services sont quasiment inutilisés. Et je mets le focus surtout sur l'administration publique qui, jusqu'à présent, avec qui on interagit souvent, qui ne facilite pas qu'on utilise ces services financiers, ces produits financiers dont on dispose pour faire les transactions avec eux. Donc, je me demande, est-ce que vous avez pu analyser ou avoir pu collecter, par rapport à l'enquête, des données ou des raisons qui empêchent que les consommateurs utilisent les services financiers qui soient disponibles jusqu'à présent?
Très bien. Une dernière question.
Bonjour, mon nom est Andy René, je suis directeur général d'une FinTech à ITP. Ma question c'est pour Abel. Est-ce qu'il pourrait nous donner ou partager avec nous des expériences dans les autres pays en Afrique où est-ce qu'il y a eu cette étude de FinScope? Quels ont été les changements qui ont été apportés après la publication des données FinScope? Et au niveau régulation, 2 au niveau des institutions bancaires formelles et 3 au niveau des institutions bancaires non formelles. Est-ce qu'il peut donner un exemple de changements qui sont apportés, régulation, secteur bancaire et secteur informel? Merci.
Très bon point. Avant de remettre à Abel, la première question est très importante. Cet après-midi, on aura un panel pour terminer la journée sur les assurances. Et comme vous savez, FDI maintenant s'occupe de tout ce qui se passe en assurance agricole. Donc il y aura beaucoup d'informations, car il faut qu'il y ait l'assurance liée également au crédit, surtout dans un secteur extrêmement risqué. Donc il faut diversifier et comprendre également l'intelligence financière est un élément fondamental. Ce n'est pas juste déposer comme là, prendre crédit, mais plus on est intelligent, ça peut aider. Donc dans le niveau de l'éducation en Haïti, il faut enseigner tout cela. Concernant la deuxième question, oui, autre type d'épargne, on le sait bien, mais c'est mauvais également, on dit, on mettait comme là dans le cochon. Donc on mettait tout son gain diversifié, ça peut poser un problème. Donc c'est une très bonne éducation, ne pas concentrer tout. Oui, on est capable d'acheter actif là, mais il faut gonter liquidité tout et modifier tout ça. Abel, il garde le mic, il va continuer. La directrice générale a un point également.
Je vais commencer avec Abel en ce qui a trait aux assurances. Oui, vous avez raison quand on dit qu'on parle de lecture jointe entre les différents services. Par exemple, si on prend quelqu'un qui a un crédit, qu'il soit crédit automobile ou bien crédit pour une maison par exemple, ou bien les institutions, ou bien les business qui ont des crédits, les banques habituellement demandent des polices d'assurance. Mais par contre, les services et les produits d'assurance, ce n'est pas seulement pour ceux et celles qui ont des crédits. Regardez ce qui s'est passé après le tremblement de terre de 2010. Vous avez beaucoup de ménages qui ont économisé toute leur vie pour construire une maison. Comme ils disent, ça c'est mon argent, je n'ai pas eu un crédit bancaire, pourquoi assurer cette maison? Et on se retrouve avec des ménages, des jeunes, des moins vieux et des vieux. Bon, pour les vieux, c'est ce qui est le plus... C'est pire parce que ils ont déjà passé l'âge où ils travaillaient pour faire cette maison. En d'autres termes, les assurances, oui, ceux qui ont un crédit, habituellement, les banques demandent une assurance. Mais les assurances, les produits d'assurance, ce n'est pas seulement pour ceux et celles qui ont un crédit bancaire. Oui, ce sont des produits joints, mais quand même, pour nous, en Haïti, il faut qu'on commence. Par exemple, je regardais les résultats que Abel a présentés. En ce qui a trait à l'inclusion, si on regarde les transferts, par exemple, c'est le secteur où c'est les services où il y a le plus exclu, pas exclu, inclus. Et j'ai fait un parallèle avec pourquoi les gens épargnent. Les gens épargnent pour des besoins en santé. Les gens épargnent pour l'éducation, les gens épargnent pour plusieurs autres choses. Vous ne voyez pas de parallèle avec l'assurance? Si ces gens-là ont de l'argent et ils épargnent textuellement pour des problèmes de santé, pour moi, on n'a pas besoin d'avoir un crédit pour ça. On peut commencer à aller au niveau des assurances. Mais les gens, comme a dit Abel, les gens ne comprennent pas c'est quoi l'assurance. Et c'est là qu'il faut prendre toutes ces données. Moi, j'ai regardé seulement 2 graphes et j'ai automatiquement, bon, si j'étais dans le secteur des assurances, j'aurais automatiquement pensé à des produits que je peux offrir à la population. Surtout ceux qui ont des entrées régulières. Pourquoi ne pas leur proposer quelque chose si la raison principale pourquoi ils économisent, c'est pour dépenser si j'ai un problème de santé. Je ne vais pas m'attarder sur ça, mais quand même, c'est comme ça qu'il faut lier en termes d'assurance. Bon, je vais laisser, comme il n'y a pas beaucoup de... En ce qui a trait à l'épargne pour le levier, effectivement, si on regarde la base de données originale, on a posé cette question. Parce qu'on dit avant, par exemple, cochon, c'était épargne paysan. Et on sait pertinemment, moi personnellement, je me rappelle, j'ai posé la question à Abel, il ne faut pas négliger le fait que beaucoup d'Haïtiens en milieu rural n'économisent pas avec de l'argent. Ils économisent avec d'autres types de biens. Livestock, les biens de bétail, par exemple. Oui, la base de données inclut ces informations-là, mais cependant, pour la présentation de ce matin, on parlait textuellement de l'épargne monétaire, de l'épargne qu'on fait au niveau des institutions formelles ou informelles. Je vais laisser la 3e et la 4e question pour Abel.
Pour reprendre ce que la directrice générale, Mme Georgette, a dit, on a en effet beaucoup de données. Ça va intéresser tout le secteur et c'est pour ça que la base de données vous sera remise en temps voulu, c'est-à-dire que c'est la BRH qui va gérer ça. Donc, en effet, oui, on a posé la question. Je réitère l'idée de Georgette. Oui, et on a posé la question, mais dans le cadre de cette présentation, nous avons seulement présenté l'épargne monétaire. D'accord? Oui, il y a beaucoup de personnes qui épargnent et vous allez voir ça lorsque vous téléchargez la base de données. Et j'aimerais faire un petit point rapidement, et avant de passer à Abel et le micro. J'aimerais vous inviter à la page 7, s'il vous plaît, du petit livret. Vous allez voir, et dans la section accès à la documentation et au logement, on sait pertinemment en Haïti que les institutions financières demandent d'habitude 2 pièces d'identité pour ouvrir un compte quelconque. D'accord? Et les pièces acceptées sont l'acte de naissance, excusez-moi, le SIN, la carte d'identification nationale, c'est-à-dire la carte électorale, et le passeport ou le permis de conduire. Lorsqu'on regarde la disponibilité de ces pièces, vous allez voir que le permis de conduire, seulement 9% de la population ont ça, alors que le passeport, seulement 16% ont ça. Donc déjà, il y a un problème qu'on peut résoudre là. D'accord? Ça ne veut pas dire nécessairement que lorsqu'on résout ce problème, il n'y aura plus de compte en banque. Mais ça fait beaucoup de logique que si on demande 2 pièces, et on peut avoir le SIN, et on sera toujours limité par les 16% du passeport ou les 9% du permis de conduire. Donc déjà, il y a un problème très simple que les policy makers, comme on dit, peuvent résoudre. D'accord? Et je sais que l'ONI est en train de faire la carte électorale biométrique. Je ne sais pas si, et dans le cadre légal, on va l'accepter comme pièce unique. Et si on ne l'accepte pas, comment créer une autre pièce qui est abondante. Et on sait que 94% ont accès à un acte de naissance. Donc, ce n'est pas sorcier de voir qu'on peut résoudre ce problème rapidement, juste avec de bonnes lois et de bonnes régulations. Merci. Abel.
Thank you again for the questions. Monsieur Kesna, I have a question for the audience myself. I have questions for you. But before we start, can I just double check, just reiterate why we are here? Can you please give yourselves a round of applause for coming, just starting there, for coming? This says 2 things. One, yes, you are interested about your business from whichever industry you are from, which is good. Secondly, you are interested in the welfare of the Haitians. Financial inclusion is a transformational agenda. It's not only about making money. These are your neighbors, this is your family, this is every. So starting with this sitting, this first objective we have when you do this service, we want to first get the conversation started. It only starts with the data. And I like the question on pairing credit and insurance. I'll come to it. Do you agree that BRH as a regulator on its own, there's nothing it can do? It can pass regulation, but it won't change the industry. It's you who need to change the industry in partnership with BRH. The reason why this is very, very good is that it is the starting part of the conversation. Let me start with a question on what are the experiences. Linking back to the question on IDs. In most environments or markets in the world, they have relaxed the KYC environment given what the data says in their country. If, for example, there is limited number of documentations, therefore it's you collectively and say you present a business case. BRH, we know you want us to get IDs, but given the data, please relax your KYC. Are you all familiar that globally KYC requirements have lessened? Are you familiar with that? Why is that? It's driven by data. All the countries, by the way, fintechs now, they are doing away with ID requirements. That is what the innovation is. So those are some of the experiences. So this is the starting part of the conversation. You then sit and present a business case to BRH. Given the data, what can we do? We want to create financial solutions, but you want a requirement on IDs. Can you relax the KYC? And they've done that globally. The idea is that the joint partnership, we have a common interest for financial inclusion. That's the starting part. Anyway, I still have a question for you. Can I please start answering the question on inclusion versus education? The very first question I never answered. Madam asked it earlier. Like I said, the data is rich. We have the results, we have all those things. The only problem is that I'm requested to present in 45 minutes. So we'll only select pieces that make sense, right? But the value of the data can never be understated. And there is a correlation between financial inclusion and education. Obviously, those that have higher education tend to be more included, and they tend to work in formal sector. So therefore, they are not included because of education, but also because of where they earn the money, right? So that's where the correlation comes in. It's not only about the paper, but it's in your environment. If you have a degree, but you are still a farmer, your level of inclusion will look like a farmer. Because what drives inclusion is not the document you have, it's the context of your livelihood. I want to say this until it makes sense. What drives financial inclusion is not your document, is not anything else. It's how you earn a living. If you are dependent on family members, chances are you will be excluded because you are dependent. If you are a small business owner, chances are you will have some kind of inclusion. Because of the environment, you have to buy goods, you still need to sell goods, you need to get money, you need to pay. So that is the thing that will influence your level of your inclusion. It's your interaction with your ecosystem. Please always remember that. On the question of insurance and credit, I still say the beauty of the data is what you can do with it. Now, in Mexico, for example, we worked with a bank, CNBV. What we are doing with them is to use this data and pairing it with their own internal data. Here's what we know globally. All banks in the world, a lot of their models are dependent on internal data. That is why it's very hard to include the excluded, because the picture you get is only of your clientele. It doesn't show you what is on the other side of the coin. But this data tells you who is not included, and then you can start creating a profile. You can't create a profile of somebody you don't have in your data. You remember this, right? Right? You can't create a profile of somebody you don't have. So the value of this kind of data is now when you start matching it with your internal data. Because your internal strategy says you need to save the income 3,000 to 5,000, this kind of goods. You take the same profile, you match it with those that are outside your database. You see, oh, there's an opportunity. They are located in Northwest, for example. You then can start selling because you understand the data. So one of the things I currently do in 3 countries so far is to help FSPs like yourselves to start understanding how best to create this kind of value. After this kind of presentations, there's always 3 weeks, 4 weeks, people thinking, and then we reconvene. Because most of the time, the FSPs always ask one thing. Yeah, we understand this thing, but we want to now start using the data. How can we do that? We sit them down, we go through with them the questionnaire, the data itself, understand what it is, the GIS points, how to use it, how to maximize, all those things. We sit down with you, and then you then create products. At the end of the day, the idea is to serve the excluded, which is part of the national strategy. I'm passing that one. The question on the rural was answered. We do have data. Like I said, the data is there. It just needs users. There was a question on supply side data. Okay, the question was twofold. It said, one, how can institutions encourage their employees to use the products that they offer, right? That's how I understood it, the first part. The second part was, is there data on supply side from the providers themselves? So normally our process is twofold. One, we do this data first, this survey first, and then the second part of the survey is supply side, now looking at the kinds of solutions you offer. Because all those things, they feed into National Financial Inclusion Strategy. Because then it paints a picture of what the people want versus what is currently available. And then you can easily map the gaps, where, who, what, all those things. This one gives a picture of the lives of the people, but doesn't give you the picture of the MFIs and the businesses, so the supply side. So when you marry the two data sets, that is what makes the financial inclusion strategy. Oh, that's how we do the financial inclusion in all the countries we've been, all 28 countries now. That's so that at any given point, you have the full picture of the people, the needs, what's currently available, what is the gap. And then obviously everything in between. The last one on regulation, formal, informal. The current theory of change says, we know that we have 46% of the others that are excluded. How do we include them, right? We know also from experience that if you analyze the data, you will always see that one, they're in the rural areas, those things. So you start with the informal financial services, because that's normally the easiest bit, right? Of currently what they use. And then of those that are using informal, the question is, how can you upgrade them to use formal? And then there's that 4% of those that are using other formal non-bank. How do you get them to use bank? That's currently the theory of change in terms of improving security, welfare, economy, all those things. Scalability, yeah, all those things. I do have a question for all of you. Oh, okay, experiences. So, on the experiences, one, it depends on the country. Let's start painting a picture of Haiti first. A lot of people in Haiti don't have documentation. And quite a few Haitians have small businesses. And there's a strategic focus on agriculture. And obviously the data with fintechs and all those things, that has been oversaid. We then start looking at the opportunities within the country. So for Haiti, there would be the focus on small businesses. Because what we currently don't have, what the data doesn't show you, is the financial inclusion from the business point of view. How can a business access money? What are the challenges of the business experiences? What are the drivers? What are the barriers, right? So that is a different survey altogether. Normally we do it immediately after this, around 6 months, we start that other survey, so that the two then gives you an opportunity to start mapping how you can enhance agriculture to be a business now. So how you start turning farmers or subsistence farmers to be commercial farmers. So all these things have a business angle to it. So those are the kind of things we would do based on the local context, right? When I was advising the World Bank on 5 countries doing the same thing on their national strategies, these are the things we would always start picking up, because the context is always different. In Africa, same as Haiti, a lot of livelihoods, they are in the agriculture space. So agriculture obviously has a big role, and SMMEs. And the two, for 2 reasons why they are always focused. One, they have a higher chance of employing people, meaning to better the lives of Haitians, you focus on the small businesses and the agriculture, right? And then the second part is obviously the work we do with the regulators now, helping them work on regulation, laws, and cross-border remittance regulation. Because most of the time, if you map how Haiti gets money, and then you map the corridors, and the cost of the corridors, all those things, those are some of the things we work on to help kind of ease the cost of the corridors of money transfers, going in and coming and going out, coming in and going out. Yeah, it depends. It depends. Oh, the last thing, the new thing that I'm working on now is I'm working on digital identity, the role digital identity can have on increasing financial inclusion in the countries. So currently it's a project I'm working with the World Bank. Yeah. I hope it answers.
Je dois vous dire que Abel sera présent avec nous vendredi pour le lancement de la FinTech, donc la finance et les technologies de l'information et de la communication. Donc il y aura 2 sites vendredi, ici et au niveau de l'université Quisqueya. La Banque centrale va lancer son application, donc pour que vous puissiez, si vous venez, pour être capable de prendre toute information sur le site Banque centrale à partir d'une application. Et ici, je crois également, BRH, la BNC. Donc, toutes ces institutions seront présentes pendant le week-end avec nous. Et la Banque centrale a l'intention également de lancer ce qu'on appelle la goutte numérique. Est-ce que ça veut dire que cette goutte numérique va résister mieux par rapport au dollar que le réel, que le numérique, de ne pas mettre l'autre de la caillou, la bonne même résultat. Mais il va le mettre en goutte numérique. Pour nous-mêmes, c'est des annonces qui vont se faire, je pourrais dire, vendredi. Avant de prendre congé de vous pour une petite pause, dois-je vous dire que c'est des tablettes qu'on avait utilisées pour cette enquête. Et pas bonne quantité d'argent que tu as dépensé, bon côté pas nous, pas en pile. On a utilisé 93 personnes pour l'enquête au niveau national. Les 2 principaux responsables, Roch André et Carly Dolin, qui ont fait un travail extraordinaire. On doit les remercier pour ce travail. Et Abel nous a dit que chaque 6 mois, que vous faites travailler ça en Afrique. Donc les parties prenantes dans la salle, bon, on va dire que nous fait pour nous chaque 6 mois, mais au moins chaque année, nous avons faire un petit bail comme ça pour que le mercredi matin, dans le sommet, qu'on puisse savoir l'état de l'inclusion financière en Haïti. On s'excuse auprès du ministère de l'Économie et des Finances. La journée du mercredi, c'est la journée des finances publiques, même quoi que c'est big data, analytique, c'est important pour le ministère de comprendre que dans l'élaboration du budget national, si nous avons mis un petit code pour nous faire identification, si nous avons mis un code pour éducation financière dans le budget, ça permettra au ministère de mobiliser beaucoup plus de ressources locales. Donc, je ne sais pas quoi ça dérange le ministère parce que je te viens présenter nous, mais nous avons pile d'informations qui peuvent aider de manière considérable. Applaudissements pour Abel en anglais. On comprend? Et la presse, on va avoir une conférence, bon, une petite, rapidement conférence à l'extérieur. On prend une courte pause et on va revenir avec le ministère de l'Économie et des Finances. Il y a beaucoup d'informations encore pour le reste de la journée et on aura également les assurances cet après-midi. Une très courte pause. On se retrouve dans ce temps. On demande au véhicule BB 23 497, Hilux BB 23 497 de se déplacer.
Mauvais sentiment, fait manger même pas nous manger. Ça arrive mon yola m'barre connaître espagnol. Santo Domingo Pingo a dit lever l'envoyer l'eau. À côté, on nous toutes dans l'eau, boyo, tout net, si jouet yo-yo. Haïti, m'a perdu, toi, tu t'es choisi mauvais. Mais en pile, la pile, loup, senti qu'aime, loup, senti m'jal. Mais l'éternel au bon berger, protège la vie, moi. Tu vois du ciel envoyé, je vois la